The Kevlari War Council chamber gleamed with holographic displays, each one showing scenes from Earth's military history. High General Zaxthor's scaled fingers tapped rhythmically against his command throne as footage of human tank warfare played across the central projection. "Observe, my esteemed colleagues," he purred, his translator converting his clicks and whistles into standard Galactic. "These primitives still rely on throwing metal projectiles at each other. How quaint." His massive frame shook with barely contained amusement. Lieutenant Amanda Hayes stood at attention near the back of the chamber, her jaw clenched tight. As the newest tactical analyst assigned to the Kevlari High Command, she'd spent months studying Earth's military history. What she saw in those records kept her awake at night. "Your Eminence," Sub-Commander Krull chittered, his head frills flaring with excitement. "Shall I show the footage from their latest conflict?" Zaxthor waved a casual affirmative. The display shifted to scenes from the Middle East, showing urban warfare and drone strikes. The assembled Kevlari officers clicked their mandibles in derision. "They still fight over resources," one officer noted, "like larvae squabbling over scraps." Hayes couldn't contain herself any longer. "Sir, permission to speak freely?" Zaxthor's head swiveled toward her, compound eyes reflecting the holographic light. "Ah, our human analyst. Please, enlighten us with your perspective." His tone dripped with condescension. Hayes stepped forward, her boots clicking against the polished floor. "In the past century alone, human warfare has evolved from horses and rifles to autonomous weapons and cyber warfare. Our adaptation rate is primitive." Zaxthor interrupted. "Your species took millennia to achieve spaceflight. The Kevlari Empire was crossing galaxies while humans were still discovering gunpowder." "That's exactly my point, sir." Hayes activated her datapad, projecting a new set of statistics. "Humanity went from first flight to landing on our moon in just 66 years. From basic computers to quantum computing in less than a century. Our learning curve is exponential." Laughter rippled through the chamber. Sub-Commander Krull flicked his antennae dismissively. "And yet you still lag centuries behind our technological achievements." Hayes persisted. "Sir, I've analyzed the combat footage from every human conflict in recorded history. We don't just fight wars, we transform through them. Each conflict drives innovation. World War I gave us aircraft carriers. World War II led to computers. The Cold War spawned the Internet." "Enough." Zaxthor rose from his throne, towering over Hayes. "Your sentiment for your species is noted, Lieutenant. But observe." He gestured to a new hologram showing a Kevlari battlecruiser. "Our ships are impregnable to your ballistic weapons. Our energy shields render your explosives useless. Your electromagnetic weapons are child's play compared to our defenses." Hayes stood her ground. The last species that called humans primitive was the Nexus Collective. They're extinct now. The chamber fell silent. Zaxthor's compound eyes narrowed. "The Nexus were overconfident fools. We are the Kevlari. We have conquered 1,000 worlds. Your Earth will be nothing more than a footnote in our glorious history. Every empire that's claimed invincibility has fallen, sir." Hayes' voice was quiet but firm. "Humanity's greatest strength isn't our weapons. It's our experience with being underestimated." Zaxthor returned to his throne, mandibles clicking in amusement. "You are dismissed, Lieutenant. Return to your analysis of our primitive adversaries." The chamber filled with chittering laughter. Hayes saluted crisply and turned on her heel. As she reached the chamber's exit, Zaxthor's voice carried across the room. "Oh, and Lieutenant, do make your next report more optimistic, for your career's sake." The doors hissed shut behind her. In the corridor, Hayes pulled out her personal datapad and began recording. Day 47 of deployment to Kevlari High Command. They're going to attack Earth, and they're going to learn the hard way why humanity's history of constant warfare isn't a sign of primitiveness. It's a testament to our survival. She encrypted the message and sent it through her secure channel to Earth Command. The Kevlari would learn soon enough. There's a difference between having advanced weapons and knowing how to wage war. Humanity had been practicing the art of warfare for its entire existence. And practice, as they say, makes perfect. Colonel Jack Reynolds watched the Kevlari ships descend through New Washington's atmosphere, their hulls gleaming like polished obsidian in the morning sun. Behind him, the colony's defense center hummed with controlled chaos as operators coordinated evacuation efforts. "Status report," he barked, eyes fixed on the tactical display. Lieutenant Sarah Cooper's fingers danced across her console. Civilian bunkers at 87% capacity. Militia units deployed to all defensive positions. Marine Corps heavy armor is in place. But she hesitated. "But their shields make our weapons useless," Reynolds finished. 20 years of fighting in the Mars insurgency had taught him to read between the lines. "Show me their formation again." The holographic display zoomed in on the Kevlari battle group. 12 ships, arranged in a perfect diamond pattern, methodically approached the colony's main population center. Their energy shields sparkled with rainbow refractions, a beautiful herald of destruction. Reynolds' neural implant buzzed with an incoming transmission. "Sir," Cooper called out, "they're broadcasting on all frequencies." High General Zaxthor's translated voice filled the command center. "Citizens of New Washington Colony, your primitive defenses cannot hope to withstand the might of the Kevlari Empire. Surrender now, and we will be merciful." Reynolds grabbed his command mic. "This is Colonel Jack Reynolds of the United Earth Marine Corps. New Washington Colony is under Earth protection. Withdraw immediately." Laughter answered him, that clicking, chittering sound that made his skin crawl. "Ah, the humans wish to fight. Very well. Let this be a lesson in futility." The first Kevlari shots streaked across the sky, their energy weapons cutting through the morning like purple lightning. They struck the colony's outer defense shields, which held for precisely 3 seconds before collapsing. Reynolds smiled. "Execute Operation Thunderclap," he ordered. "All units, initiate Pattern Delta." Across the colony's perimeter, concealed missile batteries emerged from underground bunkers. But these weren't the conventional weapons the Kevlari expected. Each launcher held something special, something the research teams called resonance disruptors. Experimental weapons designed specifically for this moment. "Sir," Cooper reported, "Ghost Squadron is in position." Reynolds nodded. "Tell Major Chen his pilots have permission to execute their attack run. And Sarah, make sure they remember their timing. One mistake, and this all falls apart." The Kevlari ships pressed their attack, energy weapons blazing. Their formation was perfect, their strategy textbook, and that was exactly what Reynolds had counted on. "Command to all units, lightning strikes on my mark." He watched the enemy ships draw closer, waiting for that perfect moment when their formation would put them exactly where he wanted them. 3, 2, 1. Strike. The resonance disruptors fired, their projectiles looking deceptively primitive. The Kevlari didn't even bother to adjust their shields, clearly expecting another futile attack. But these weren't normal missiles. The projectiles detonated in a carefully calculated pattern around the Kevlari ships. Instead of explosions, they released precisely tuned electromagnetic pulses, each one calibrated to a different frequency. Alone, none of them could penetrate Kevlari shields. But together, synchronized perfectly, energy spike detected in their shield grid. Cooper's voice rang with excitement. "Sir, it's working." The Kevlari shields flickered, their rainbow shimmer disrupted by cascading waves of electromagnetic interference. In that moment of vulnerability, Ghost Squadron struck. 20 stealth fighters emerged from hiding, their experimental plasma cannons, reverse-engineered from captured Kevlari tech, opening fire. 3 enemy ships fell from the sky before they could react. "Impossible." Zaxthor's voice boomed across the command channel. "Your weapons are inadequate. Your technology is primitive." Reynolds keyed his mic one more time. "General, humanity has been studying warfare since we learned to throw rocks. Did you really think we wouldn't learn from every single battle we've ever fought? He switched to the command channel. All units, execute Pattern Omega. Show them why you don't underestimate the descendants of Earth's warriors. As New Washington's full arsenal revealed itself, Reynolds thought back to his grandfather's words from the Mars insurgency. The greatest weapon isn't the one that's most advanced. It's the one your enemy doesn't expect you to have. The sky above New Washington erupted with thunder and lightning, both human and alien, as humanity demonstrated exactly why they'd survived millennia of warfare. Major Mike "Wrench" Davidson wiped grease from his hands and stared at the captured Kevlar fighter sprawled across his underground workshop. The vessel's sleek hull had been systematically dismantled, its components spread across dozens of workstations in the vast facility beneath the Rocky Mountains. "Come on, baby, tell me your secrets," he muttered, adjusting his neural interface goggles. The holographic overlay highlighted the alien power core's quantum structure, revealing patterns his team had spent weeks decoding. Dr. Jessica Miller appeared at his side, her own interface displaying different data streams. "Mike, you need to see this." The energy conversion ratios we're getting from their shield modulators. They're not just inefficient, they're deliberately limited. Limited? Mike turned to face the wall of screens showing real-time analysis of the Kevlar technology. "Walk me through it, Jess." She pulled up comparative diagrams. Their shield technology is built on quantum field manipulation, but it's designed to handle only a narrow band of threats. High-energy weapons, kinetic impacts, standard electromagnetic frequencies. She paused, a grin spreading across her face. But they never had to defend against Earth's specific brand of electronic warfare. Because they've never fought anyone who developed tech like we did. Mike finished, understanding dawning. Most species out there jump straight to energy weapons. But humanity. We went through every possible way to break things, Jessica confirmed. Radio jamming, electromagnetic pulses, signal hijacking. Centuries of finding ways to mess with each other's technology. Mike's neural interface pinged with an incoming priority message. He accepted it, and General Thompson's weathered face appeared in his visual field. "Major Davidson, please tell me you have something. The Kevlar just hit 3 more colonies." "Sir, we're not just understanding their tech, we're finding its weak points." Mike gestured, and his interface shared the latest findings. Dr. Miller's team discovered why our EMPs worked at New Washington. The Kevlar never developed countermeasures against certain types of electronic warfare because they never needed to. "Explain it to me like I'm a grunt, Major." Mike smiled. "They built a castle with high walls, sir, but they never expected anyone to dig under them. Their shields are optimized against direct attacks, but they're vulnerable to specific frequencies that we've been playing with since the Cold War." Jessica stepped in. "We've already modified 6 different Earth weapon systems to exploit these vulnerabilities. Give us another week, and we can have production lines running." The general's expression remained stern. "You have 48 hours. Zaxthor's fleet is regrouping for a major offensive." "Sir," Mike protested, rushing this cold. "Work perfectly," Jessica interrupted. She met Mike's startled gaze. "Remember how we cracked the propulsion system? We stopped thinking like advanced engineers and started thinking like garage mechanics. Sometimes the best solutions aren't the most elegant ones." Mike looked back at the dismantled fighter, remembering his days fixing cars in his father's garage. "She's right, sir. We've been approaching this all wrong. We don't need to build better Kevlar tech. We need to build human solutions to Kevlar problems." "You have 48 hours, the general repeated. "Make it happen." The transmission ended. Mike turned to his team, scattered across the vast workshop. Engineers, hackers, and mechanics worked side by side, their diverse backgrounds bringing different perspectives to the alien technology. "Listen up, people," his voice echoed through the facility. "New deadline, new approach. Forget everything you know about proper engineering. I want solutions that would make your old shop teachers cry. Show me what happens when human ingenuity meets alien overconfidence. The workshop erupted with renewed energy. At one station, a former car mechanic was already modifying earth-jamming equipment with salvaged Kevlar components. At another, a computer hacker who'd cut her teeth breaking corporate security systems was finding ways to infiltrate alien network protocols. Jessica watched the controlled chaos with satisfaction. You know what we are, Mike. We're like one of those garage bands that doesn't know enough theory to know what they're not supposed to be able to do. Yeah, Mike grinned, picking up a modified plasma torch. And we're about to show the Kevlari what Earth music sounds like. Somewhere above them, Zax Thor's forces were preparing their next attack, confident in their superior technology. They had no idea they were about to face weapons built by a species that had turned improvisation into an art form. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood on the bridge of the UES Normandy, watching the holographic display of what appeared to be Earth's biggest shipyard. Except it wasn't real. None of it was. The massive construction docks, the defense platforms, even the civilian traffic patterns, all carefully crafted illusions. Status report on Operation Ghost Fleet, she commanded, her voice steady despite the stakes. Commander James Parker looked up from his tactical station. Holographic projectors are functioning at optimal levels, Admiral. The Kevlari long-range sensors are reading exactly what we want them to see. And our actual fleet, hidden in the Kuiper Belt debris field, engines cold. Captain Rodriguez reports all ships are ready to move on your command. Sullivan nodded, her mind racing through the countless ways this could go wrong. The plan drew inspiration from humanity's long history of military deception, from wooden horses to inflatable tanks, from radar chaff to digital spoofing. But never had anyone attempted it on this scale. Her neural link buzzed with an incoming priority message. Admiral, her AI assistant whispered in her mind. Kevlari battle group detected entering the outer system. High General Zax Thor's flagship identified among them. A predatory smile crossed Sullivan's face. Right on schedule. He's too proud not to lead this attack personally. She opened a channel to the fleet. All ships, maintain emissions control. Remember your history lessons, people. We're the Ghost Army today. The bridge crew worked in focused silence as the Kevlari fleet approached. Years of studying their tactics had revealed their greatest weakness. They were predictable. Centuries of technological superiority had made them inflexible. Enemy fleet holding position at Marker Alpha, Parker reported. They're conducting standard scan patterns of the shipyard. Sullivan's neural link connected her to the massive network of sensors and drones scattered throughout the solar system. Through them, she could see Zax Thor's fleet, their formation exactly as predicted. The Kevlari always followed their doctrine, never adapting, never improvising. Admiral, her eye interrupted, encrypted transmission from Major Davidson's team. Put it through. Davidson's voice filled her mind. The package is ready. Admiral, our modifications to the captured Kevlari tech exceed all expectations. You just need to get them in position. Understood, Major. Stand by. Sullivan turned to her tactical officer. Begin Phase 2. Let's give them something worth attacking. Across the holographic shipyard, carefully programmed energy signatures began to fluctuate, mimicking a panicked response to the Kevlari presence. Defense platforms powered up their weapons, real ones, but only a fraction of Earth's true arsenal. Enemy fleet is moving to attack formation, Parker announced. They're taking the bait. Sullivan watched as Zax Thor's ships moved exactly as centuries of Kevlari military doctrine dictated they would. She'd studied their tactics until she could predict their moves in her sleep. Now that knowledge would cost them everything. Kevlari fleet has crossed Phase Line Bravo, her AI reported. They're fully committed. Sullivan took a deep breath. Execute Phase 3. Show them what a real ghost can do. Across the solar system, hidden human ships powered up. The debris field itself seemed to come alive as vessels concealed by advanced stealth systems revealed themselves. But the real surprise came from the holographic shipyard. The fake defense platforms suddenly projected real shield signatures, reversed-engineered Kevlar technology modified by Davidson's team. As Zaxthor's fleet opened fire on what they thought were holographic targets, their weapons met actual resistance. "Message from the Kevlar flagship," Parker called out. "They're demanding our surrender." Sullivan allowed herself a small laugh. "Send them our response. The one from General Washington." The bridge crew grinned as Parker transmitted the centuries-old message. "I have not yet begun to fight." The holographic shipyard flickered and vanished, revealing the true extent of Earth's deception. Zaxthor's fleet found themselves surrounded, caught in a three-dimensional killbox of human warships emerging from perfectly calculated hiding spots. "All ships, execute Combat Maneuver Delta," Sullivan ordered. "Let's show the Kevlari why humans wrote the book on naval warfare." As the battle began in earnest, Sullivan thought of all the military commanders whose strategies she'd studied, whose lessons she'd learned. From Themistocles at Salamis to Nelson at Trafalgar, from Nimitz at Midway to the Mars fleet at Olympus Mons. History, it seemed, had one more lesson to teach about underestimating human ingenuity. Captain James "Ghost" Rodriguez crouched in the maintenance shaft of the captured Kevlari supply station, his active camouflage system rendering him nearly invisible. The quantum infiltration suit, a marvel of human innovation, had been specifically designed for this kind of operation. "Echo Team, status report," he whispered into his neural comm. "Charlie position secure." Lieutenant Sarah Brooks responded. "Drone swarms are primed and ready." "Delta position locked down," Sergeant Mike Torres added. "Their security systems still think we're maintenance bots." Rodriguez smiled beneath his stealth mask. The Kevlari never expected their automated systems to be hijacked. They'd never fought an enemy that turned their own machines against them. "Execute Phase 1, he ordered. "Let's show them how Earth fights back." Across the massive supply station, carefully planted quantum processors activated. Each one contained warfare algorithms developed from centuries of human conflict, from ancient guerrilla tactics to modern cyber warfare. His neural display lit up with incoming data as the first wave of drones launched. They weren't the sleek, advanced machines the Kevlari expected. Instead, they were deliberately crude-looking devices, cobbled together from salvaged parts and Earth technology. "Sir," Brooks called out, "they're responding exactly as predicted. Their automated defenses are ignoring our drones as non-military hardware." Rodriguez watched through the station's own security feeds as Kevlari crews rushed to battle stations, expecting a conventional attack. They completely missed the real threat hiding in their own systems. "Initiate sequence Victor 7, he commanded. "Show them what these primitive machines can do." The drones suddenly split apart, revealing themselves as carrier platforms for thousands of smaller devices. Each microdrone contained a modified version of the EMPs that had proven so effective at New Washington. "Enemy shields activating," Torres reported. "But they're not. Wait, something's wrong with their grid." Rodriguez grinned. "That would be our friend in their mainframe." Davidson's team didn't just study their shield tech, they learned to speak its language. Across the station, Kevlari shield generators sputtered and failed. The alien crews frantically tried to restore power, not realizing their own automated systems were working against them. Every security protocol they activated had been subtly altered, every defense measure compromised. "Sir," Brooks's voice carried an edge of excitement. "Incoming transmission from Admiral Sullivan's task force. Operation Phantom Strike is a go." Perfect timing. Rodriguez stood, his camouflage system adjusting to his movement. "All teams, execute Phase 2. Remember your history lessons. We're the Viet Cong today." His neural display filled with tactical data as human forces throughout the sector sprang into action. Civilian ships suddenly revealed hidden weapon systems. Asteroid mining platforms transformed into missile batteries. Every piece of seemingly harmless infrastructure became a weapon. "Enemy response ships incoming," Torres warned. 3 heavy cruisers, Moving to support the station. Right into our kill box, Rodriguez confirmed. Signal the merchant fleet. Time to show them why you don't ignore civilian traffic. Across the sector, dozens of supposedly unarmed trading vessels revealed their true nature. Like modern-day Q-ships, they had been carefully disguised warships, waiting for this moment. Message from High General Zax Thor, Brooks announced. He's demanding we fight with honor. Rodriguez almost laughed. Send him a history book. Chapter 1. Asymmetric Warfare. The station's internal systems continued to malfunction in increasingly creative ways. Life support would fail in one section, driving Kevlari crews exactly where human forces wanted them. Security doors would seal or open apparently at random, splitting enemy response teams. Sir, Torres called out, their main reactor is showing signs of instability. Right on schedule. Rodriguez checked his tactical display. All teams, begin evacuation sequence. Let's leave our friends a little surprise. As his teams withdrew, they left behind thousands of microdrones, each programmed with warfare techniques drawn from every insurgency Earth had ever known. The Kevlari would spend months trying to clear them out, never quite sure if they'd found them all. Ghost lead to Admiral Sullivan. Rodriguez transmitted as his team boarded their stealth shuttles. Station is compromised. Phase 3 is ready for execution. Well done, Captain. Sullivan's voice held a note of satisfaction. Ready to show them why humans wrote the book on partisan warfare. Rodriguez looked back at the station through his shuttle's viewport. The Kevlari were about to learn that sometimes the most dangerous enemy isn't the one with the biggest guns. It's the one who turns your own strength against you. Ready and eager, Admiral. Let's teach them about the ghosts they never knew to fear. High General Zax Thor's command chamber no longer gleamed. Scorch marks scared the walls from when he destroyed the holographic projectors in a rage, tired of seeing reports of human victories. His once pristine uniform bore wrinkles, a shocking breach of Kevlari military protocol. Impossible, he chittered, mandibles clicking rapidly as he reviewed the latest battle data. They're nothing but primitives. They cannot be defeating us like this. Lieutenant Amanda Hayes stood before the Kevlari High Council, her former position as analyst now elevated to key witness in their investigation of Zax Thor's mounting failures. I warned you, General. Every defeat teaches humans new ways to fight. Silence. Zax Thor's massive frame rose from his command throne. These victories are flukes. Tricks and deceptions by a species too weak to face us directly. Supreme Commander Vextel's image dominated the central display, his aged carapace reflecting his centuries of experience. The numbers do not lie, High General. 8 supply stations compromised. 3 shipyards destroyed. 15 colonies lost. To our own automated defenses. They're learning our technology too quickly, another council member added. Reports suggest they're not just using our weapons. They're improving them. Hayes stepped forward, her voice steady. Permission to share intelligence from Earth Command. Vextel's antennae twitched in assent, while Zax Thor seethed silently. Commander Ryan Cooper's special operations teams have penetrated deep into Kevlari space, Hayes reported. They're not just gathering intelligence, they're teaching resistance tactics to your subjugated worlds. The council chamber erupted in clicking murmurs of concern. Zax Thor's head frills flared with rage. Lies. Our slave worlds are completely under control. Our garrison forces are being systematically eliminated, Hayes interrupted, activating her datapad. Human forces are sharing centuries of insurgency expertise, the Prussian resistance of 1813, the French Maquis, the Afghan guerrillas. We've learned from every rebellion in our history. Footage played across the chamber's displays. Kevlari patrols ambushed by invisible attackers. Garrison bases sabotaged by their own security systems. Supply lines disrupted by seemingly natural disasters that struck with suspicious precision. Enough. Zax Thor's claws scraped against his throne's arms. I will not be lectured by a primitive about warfare. I have conquered 1,000 worlds. And how many of those worlds knew how to fight back? Hayes challenged. How many had spent their entire history learning to resist superior forces? Supreme Commander Vextal's image loomed larger. High General, your obsession with proving human inferiority has cost us dearly. Our logistics network is compromised. Our automated systems cannot be trusted. Even our quantum communications show signs of human infiltration. Give me more ships, Zaxthor demanded. I will crush their homeworld and end this insurgency at its source. Your last fleet engagement was an embarrassment, another council member noted. Admiral Sullivan's deception of the shipyards has become a tactical study in our own war colleges. Hayes's Neuralink buzzed with an encrypted update. She fought to keep her expression neutral as she read the report. Commander Cooper's teams had just activated sleeper cells in 3 more Kevlari systems. The Council has reached a decision, Vextal announced. High General Zaxthor, you are relieved of command, effective immediately. You cannot, Zaxthor began. The decision is final. Vextal's tone left no room for argument. Lieutenant Hayes, your warning was prescient. Perhaps if we had heeded it. It's not too late for a diplomatic solution, Hayes offered. Earth Command is willing to. No. Zaxthor's roar shook the chamber as he lunged for the weapons panel. I will not be remembered as the general who lost to primitives. Warning klaxons blared as the ship's systems suddenly activated. Hayes's eyes widened as she realized what was happening. He's overriding the command codes, she shouted. He's taking the ship. Vextal's image crackled with interference. Security teams, respond. The transmission cut off as emergency bulkheads slammed shut. Zaxthor's laughter filled the chamber, now tinged with something close to madness. I will show you all, he hissed. I will show you how to deal with primitive humans. Hayes backed toward the exit, her neural link already transmitting emergency codes to Earth Command. She'd seen this before. The desperate last stand of a commander who couldn't accept defeat. History, she knew, had another lesson to teach, and Zaxthor was about to learn it the hard way. Dr. Emma Marshall stood in Earth Command's Central Operations Center, surrounded by holographic displays showing the culmination of humanity's greatest technological achievement. It wasn't the reverse-engineered Kevlari weapons, or the advanced stealth systems, or even the quantum communication networks. It was something far more powerful, the fusion of human and alien artificial intelligence. Status report on Project Prometheus. Admiral Sullivan's hologram requested, her image flickering with interference from Zaxthor's latest attacks on Earth's communication grid. The integration is complete, Emma replied, gesturing to the quantum processors lining the walls. We didn't just study their technology, Admiral. We taught it to think like us. The main display showed dozens of battles occurring simultaneously across Kevlari space. In each one, human forces were demonstrating impossible levels of coordination and adaptation. Show me, Sullivan ordered. Emma nodded to her team. Initiating full-spectrum deployment. Learning algorithms active. Across the galaxy, human ships and weapons suddenly began operating with unprecedented efficiency. Kevlari tactical computers, designed to predict enemy movements, found themselves facing an opponent that evolved faster than they could analyze. The key was understanding their fundamental approach to artificial intelligence, Emma explained. The Kevlari built their systems to be perfect, unchanging. We built ours to learn, to adapt, to evolve. Commander James Parker's voice cut in through the quantum comm. Doctor, we're seeing incredible results on the front lines. Our systems are predicting Kevlari responses before they make them. Because we're not just using our eye, Emma smiled. We're using theirs too. Every piece of Kevlari tech we captured, every system we studied, we didn't just copy it, we improved it. Their rigid protocols met human creativity, and something new emerged. The displays showed human forces executing complex maneuvers that seemed to defy traditional tactical doctrine. Ships moved in patterns that looked chaotic, but achieved perfect strategic positioning. Defense systems adapted to attacks in real time, learning from each shot fired. Warning, the quantum sensors pulsed. Multiple Kevlari capital ships detected on approach. High General Zax Thor's flagship identified among them. Admiral Sullivan's expression hardened. He's making his final push. Doctor, is the system ready for this? Emma turned to her primary interface, where streams of data showed the combined intelligence networks operating at full capacity. What Zax Thor never understood was that humanity's greatest strength isn't our weapons or our tactics. It's our ability to learn from everything, even our enemies. She activated the command sequence they'd prepared for this moment. Initiating Protocol Myrmidon. Across every battlefield, human forces began implementing strategies drawn from thousands of years of warfare, enhanced by processing power that could analyze millions of tactical scenarios per second. But these weren't just Earth tactics. They were Kevlari maneuvers, twisted and evolved by human ingenuity. Multiple quantum breaches detected, the sensors reported. Kevlari fleet emerging from hyperspace. Emma opened a channel to all Earth forces. All units, execute adaptive warfare protocols. Show them what happens when silicon meets soul. The response was immediate and devastating. Human ships executed perfect counters to every Kevlari attack, not because they'd practiced them, but because their hybrid AI could predict and adapt to them instantly. Each second of combat provided new data, new learning opportunities, new ways to fight. Impossible. Zax Thor's voice boomed across all frequencies. Your machines cannot match our superior technology. Emma keyed her comm. General, we didn't try to match it. We evolved it. Every system you built to be perfect, we taught to grow. Every protocol you made unchangeable, we showed how to adapt. The displays showed Kevlari ships struggling against an enemy that seemed to know their moves before they made them. Their perfect formations shattered against attacks that exploited weaknesses they didn't know they had. Send the signal, Emma ordered. Let's show them our final upgrade. Across the battlefield, human forces synchronized in ways that defied traditional military doctrine. Ships moved in fluid formations that looked like chaos, but achieved perfect tactical advantage. Ground forces coordinated with space assets in seamless harmony. This isn't just technology fighting technology, Emma transmitted to Zax Thor's flagship. This is human innovation meeting Kevlari engineering. And guess what, General? We learned from you. Can you say the same about us? General Sarah Walker stood on the bridge of the UES Resolute, watching as Zax Thor's last fleet arrayed itself for battle. The massive Kevlari dreadnoughts, once symbols of unstoppable power, now seemed like relics of a dying empire. All task forces report ready, General, Commander Rodriguez announced from his tactical station. Ghost teams are in position throughout the enemy formation. Walker nodded, her neural interface streaming real-time data from every ship in the human armada. Dr. Marshall's hybrid AI systems had transformed their fleet into something unprecedented, a perfect fusion of human intuition and machine precision. Open a channel to Zax Thor's flagship, she ordered. Let's give him one last chance to learn. The communications officer worked his console. Channel open, General. Walker straightened in her command chair. Hi, General Zax Thor. This is General Sarah Walker of United Earth Command. You've lost your commission, your fleet is in ruins, and your empire crumbles. Surrender now. Laughter echoed across the quantum channel, that familiar, mocking chittering that had started this war. You dare offer terms to me? I am Zax Thor, conqueror of 1,000 worlds. And yet you never learned the most important lesson of conquest. Walker gestured, and her tactical display projected footage from the war's beginning. Let me remind you of your own words. Zax Thor's voice from months ago filled the bridge. These primitives still rely on throwing metal projectiles at each other. How quaint. You saw our weapons, Walker continued, but missed our wisdom. You counted our ships but ignored our history. Every battle you fought taught us. Every victory you claimed made us stronger. Enough, Zax Thor roared. I will not be lectured by a primitive about warfare. Walker smiled. Then let us show you instead. All units, execute battle plan Thermopylae. The human fleet burst into action, implementing strategies drawn from every war humanity had ever fought. Ships moved in formations inspired by Alexander's phalanx, adapted for three-dimensional space warfare. Fighter squadrons executed maneuvers based on Desert Storm air campaigns, enhanced by AI-driven precision. Enemy fleet advancing, Rodriguez reported. They're following standard Kevlari doctrine, exactly as predicted. Of course they are, Walker replied. They never learn to adapt. Major Davidson, are you ready? Engineering team standing by. Davidson's voice crackled through the quantum comm. Ready to show them what happens when you combine human ingenuity with Kevlari tech. The battle unfolded like a deadly dance. Every Kevlari move met a perfect counter, not through superior technology, but through centuries of military experience amplified by modern innovation. Their shields are failing, Rodriguez announced. Ghost Team's EMPs are working. Walker opened the fleet-wide channel. Admiral Sullivan, execute Operation Trafalgar. Human ships suddenly broke formation, each captain acting with seeming independence while following a grand strategy centuries in the making. Like Nelson's ships at Trafalgar, they cut the enemy line into isolated segments. Impossible. Zaxthor's voice shook with rage. Your formations make no sense. Your tactics defy all military logic. That's humanity's greatest strength, Walker responded. We learn from every source, even fictional ones. These tactics, some came from our history, others from our entertainment. Your mistake was thinking that made them less valid. The battle reached its crescendo as human forces demonstrated everything they'd learned. Kevlari ships found their own automated systems turning against them, reprogrammed by Ghost Team infiltrators. Their perfect formations shattered against attacks they'd never imagined possible. General, Rodriguez called out, Zaxthor's flagship is isolated. Their command and control is failing. Walker stood, addressing her final words to the Kevlari general. You asked to see primitive warfare, Zaxthor. Here it is. Every lesson humanity learned, from sticks and stones to quantum computers. We studied war so thoroughly that we learned to end it quickly. The combined human fleet closed in, their weapons representing every age of warfare. Railguns based on ancient ballistics, energy weapons evolved from captured Kevlari tech, and things the aliens had never imagined possible. All ships, execute final attack pattern, Walker commanded. Show them why Earth's warriors are the most feared in history. As Zaxthor's flagship erupted in quantum fire, Walker thought of every commander who'd contributed to this moment. From Sun Tzu to Eisenhower, from ancient battlefields to modern spaceways, humanity had learned from them all. The greatest lesson, it seemed, was one the Kevlari never understood. True strength lies not in having the most advanced weapons, but in knowing all the ways to use them. And humanity, after millennia of practice, had finally mastered that art.